is clear. The colour spectrum no longer glows. So why not pull up a few and let me build for you? Magic in the cups, gold in the rocks, down in the mines where the shadows skew. No colour in my eyes, no blue in the skies. Pull up a few and let me build for you. Dyes in the dust, shades in the knock. Pull up a few and let me build for you. My name's ColourTongue and I journey with you.
Well, last episode we built this house, which is no ordinary build. It's inspired by Norman Bates, the house from the film Psycho. You know, that place that is really unsettling, place that doesn't feel safe. And beside it with the twisted tree. And then beyond that, nothing. The land is empty and silent. It's just waiting for something. So today, we'll give it a world of its own. A biome where life feels drained and colour does not exist. Before we start to shape this land, we need a block palette. We can't use all the classic green leaves and colourful flowers. We are focusing on black and white, greyscale. The blocks you see here will make up the vegetation. They'll fill the cracks and the whispers of the empty landscape. Combine all the blocks in the palette and we'll end up with something like this. A weird and desaturated landscape. Giant flowers, which we'll get onto later, and all the vegetation. And the dried ghasts as a little flower. But we're gonna need farms for these blocks. I was completely unaware that you needed a strider to farm coral. Because I was completely unaware, and they're so tricky to get. Because who likes bringing mobs from the nether? Not me. Oh, no. Everything in that place is out to get you. But as I mentioned, I need a strider to farm coral. And you will not believe how much coral we need. So this strider is coming home with us. Well, you might be thinking, Colour, why do you need a strider to farm coral? Well, let me explain. Coral and all its variants can be found in warm oceans. So I had to travel 10,000 blocks to find a warm ocean and set up an industrial district. I've got your standard farms, creeper, sugarcane, and then cobble, and I've got shulker loaders for everything. But over here is the coral farm, and as you can see, I got a spare strider dangling from a lead because these guys die on you frequently, especially if you're over an ocean, because as soon as they touch water, that's it, they're gone. And here he is in action, with me sitting on his head mining coral. So whoever designed this farm is a genius. So now we got farms for the following blocks. Dried ghast, a moss farm for moss and mossy cobblestone, which also makes bone meal to make bone blocks. We got all the dead coral variants. We got an iron farm for all the iron blocks. And of course villagers to get a load of glass. So whilst I carry on making farms, let's head back to base and I'll transform the terrain. I'm not too sure what took longer, placing the mud or dealing with creakings. So the reason I went with mud and muddy mangrove roots was to create a darker terrain. So all the vegetation that we plant on top will really stand out in the landscape. And now we have this dark canvas, there's something magical that I really want to build. I love these flowers. Oh, they're so magical and weird. And they're so big. The big one here is nearly as tall as the tree. And that creates this otherworldly feeling. And against the black terrain, ooh, there's something freaky about this. So I built them using a mixture of stone. So we got cobble, mossy cobble, andesite, stone bricks for the stems and the leaves. And for the peduncle, yes, that is what this part of the flower is called. It's called a peduncle. I've used a hopper and an ochre frog lamp, and I'm hiding it with white banners just to create a little bit of movement within all the flowers, as you can see there. And if we have a look at the top of the flower, I've tried to create this delicate feeling of the petals using the iron trapdoors. We've got some quartz and some pale oak. And I've used glass panes just to act a little bit like dew on the petals. And in the center, I've used some birch. I know it's got a bit of color in it, but it sits on top, so it's not visible from below. A little bit like the ochre frog light that's hidden here. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to add all of that foliage that we checked out at the beginning of the episode. All that grey, dead coral, the bushes, the dried ghast flowers, really creating that weird and wonderful biome that we're aiming for. But first, I want to build a path that curves its way through the dark landscape. I want the path to feel like a vein of marble running through the black land. And at the top of this path, an ornate gate leading up to the house on the hill. So now the gate and the path are built, we can finally start to create this biome. And using the contour of the path, it will guide us to create an immersive feeling as you walk through this greyscale land. Okay, so let's decide where we're going to put points of interest in this landscape. I feel like this area here, this natural dip in the landscape, would be a great position for a pond, and we can have all sorts of like bulrushes and water plants. And then to the right of the path here would be great to have kind of high flowers and some trees, lots of density there. And this flat area in front of the tree, I'd like to keep quite low, so there's a balance between the high tree, the high flower, as in the low foliage like bushes and trees, maybe ghast flowers. Then if we fly over here and look back away from the house, we'll have this hill. And this hill is actually a really great dark backdrop. And here we can go crazy with the large flowers, and I've got some other designs that I'd like to place around this area. So now all the planning is done and the materials are gathered, let's build in black and white. So here we are, relaxing on my swing in the completed landscape, using the pale garden biome on all these greyscale blocks. I'm very happy what I've been able to achieve this episode. The tree and the house on the hill have a beautiful landscape now to exist in. And I'm walking around at night because there is something about the darkness that adds to the ambience. The moon rising, the forest creaking, and my footsteps crunching along the path. All the while we have these weird plants like this ghast flower here, and I'm using forced lighting just to create an effect on the land. So we've got bone block in the center, and then mushroom and coral block, and then deep slate fading into the mud. And the bone block has this natural shadow in the center of it, which I really love. And as you can see, the particles from the hidden firefly bushes really makes the pond feel alive. And look, there's a ghast flower just poking up at the background there. I also added a darker set of blocks around the edges of the water. So I've used coal and blackstone just to kind of create that wet look compared to the mud. And as we walk around the pond, I've got a little mushroom field, these big white puffballs that are actually growing in the UK at the moment. And I've seen quite a few of them and they're really fun looking. So they're good inspiration to put in this world. And I chose to put them here between the two ponds because I felt like the land would be really moist, perfect condition for mushrooms. But before we carry on, I think we should have a little sleep so we can look at everything during the day. Oh, that is much better. Now, in front of us, we have our beautiful flowers again. Against the black backdrop of this dark hill, they really add to the fantastical nature of the build. And the size, I think the size is what really does it. You know, the gigantic flowers, as big as a hill, as big as the big tree. And yeah, it really helps to sell that fantasy aspect that I'm going for. Now, there are loads of other small details, which I'll probably show at the end in a couple of cinematics, but this whole building in black and white challenge has been really interesting. So if you've enjoyed this, make sure you like and subscribe, and I will be back again with some more builds in this black and white world. But until then, be well, be merry, and I'll see you in the next episode.